everybody, it's me, PTV, and I'm here today with DBR. I'm going to tell you a little bit about his lifestyle and the adversities that he's overcame, touch on adoption, and just about how life can
What we're going to be doing is I'm going to be doing my typical get ready with me because it is Monday. Anybody who feels like the odd man out or the black sheep of your family, I know all about that firsthand from experience. So we're going to be touching on a few things, and I hope you guys truly do enjoy. Stay tuned. Alrighty guys, so I'm going to be doing get ready with me, kind of chit chat as I answer these interview questions, and I hope that you guys enjoy. If you guys do want a step-by-step tutorial, this is not that kind of tutorial. If you need to know the specific steps, just go watch one of those videos. I'll have them linked below in the description. So I'm gonna go ahead and start and answer these questions here as I put my makeup on. So you can ask me the first question whenever you're ready.
I just want to start out with asking, how do you feel inside today, at this time in your life, at this point in your life, how do you feel about being a part of an adopted family?
How do I feel about being a part of an adopted family today? I feel like my feelings have not changed. I think my feelings have most certainly stayed the same over the years. I am still very bitter and very angry at the fact that I am adopted and I was robbed of the opportunity to be what society would consider to be a regular African American. I have no idea what it feels like to be black, and I think I was robbed of that. Yes, I am adopted by two white people, my mother and father, and they couldn't have any children of their own, so they thought that it was wise to adopt 7 children. Why 7 black children, I will never know, and 1 Puerto Rican. But she's minority too, so she black. And I feel like there's just a void that
Be filled. And that was my next question. My next question is, what is it that can assist you with not being as angry as you are about your adoption?
Well, I feel like I would just have to come to terms with being okay with it. Like, and I know that's kind of like, I don't want to say like a cliche statement, but everybody's just going to have to get to the point where they learn to just be okay. And I haven't really gotten to that point, to the, 100% to that point. I will never feel like I belong in a sense. It's just not an easy thing for any human being to come to terms with. And oftentimes people can look at that and think that, it's a good thing that I don't have to go through those experiences because I get to live a very privileged lifestyle because of who raised me. But I would trade all the money in the world that I was brought up with for a sense of normalcy.
Have you ever expressed these feelings to your adopted family? I'm just going to say your family. I'm not going to say your adopted family, but I know that you do have 2 sets of family because you have your birth family and you have your adopted family. So yes. I would just say family A and B. I won't say 1 and 2 because I don't want to put one above the other. So
I feel like I have in the past tried to speak up about it, and my mother was never okay with hearing that we were unhappy, although she's more than partly responsible for why we're unhappy. But when we bring stuff like that up, she would rather pretend like it's not happening.
That's very common.
Or be the first one to end the conversation. Like, we've tried to say, this is what we feel, and she'll just look at us and say she's not interested in talking about it, and she'll go
would.
upstairs. She'll remove herself from the room.
She would literally say that?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry to hear that, because that's not how she should handle it, but that might just be the only way she knows how to handle it.
And I mean, she's not the emotional kind of person, and maybe that puts her in an emotional headspace. She is a Scorpio.
Sometimes people just don't know how to verbalize their emotions.
We've gotten to the point where we just have to accept things for what they are. You know, at some point you just have to go, where am I going to take the responsibility off of them? You know, we're getting to the age where we can't continue to, we're like this because we didn't experience X, Y, and Z. Okay, well, who has the power to change that now? That we're, you know, I feel like it is what it is. You know, they made a decision for people who couldn't make the decision for themselves. And, you know, whether it was right or wrong, I have no right to say whether it was right or wrong. Because in their shoes, I don't know what they saw or what they felt.
That's a very mature response, you know, and it's not, some people never get to that point where they realize that after going through trauma or just a rough patch in life, people don't look outside of the box how you just did. So I commend you for that. Question might be a little bit touchy, or anyone ever molested. I know that that's a very common issue within the system, and an issue that people don't talk about. I think that's one of the things that people should talk about.
Me personally, no. Were there people in the house that were molested and abused? Yes, there are people. We were all abused physically, absolutely. I can agree to that. We were abused physically, and I feel like that's the state's negligence. They just say, oh, you're adopted now, so whatever happens, happens. Like, they don't come back years later and check to see, you know, if the parents are, you know, worthy of the job. They just kind of, oh, forget it. You know, so I feel like it's the state's negligence, really, is where my frustration lies, because I don't think that would have happened to my sister. I don't think she would have gotten raped by another brother that's also in the house had, you know, somebody been checking in from time to time, or at least given us a therapist or some sort of clinical professional to talk to us during, you know, different kinds of periods of our lives.
Any therapy?
Well, I've been through therapy almost my whole life, and in the beginning, I didn't think it was very helpful, but now, in hindsight, years later, I think that it was probably the best thing for me. It's a hard thing to admit when you need help.
You're right, and I feel like this is a fact. Everyone needs therapy, whether if you were adopted or not. That life will have you need therapy, because therapy is just only an outlet and somebody to give you a different perspective and guidance of your thoughts, your thought processing, and just your emotional state. Everybody needs therapy. Everybody could benefit through therapy.
Well, I feel like therapy wasn't forced for me, but in a way it kind of was, and I'm going to tell you why. When I was in high school, I was someone who always got bullied and made fun of, and, you know, I was always the person that if you bullied me, I was going to hurt you physically. Like, that was that. Like, that was my way of standing up for myself. And this kid that always had it out for me, he later told me that he was jealous of me and my clique, and he just wanted to be like me. He wanted to fit in the way that I did, and, you know, have the friends, and everybody loved me. Like, I was Dennis Christian Gianti. Everybody loved me. So I felt like he always had it out. And his sister told him something that wasn't true, that I went up to her and I was like, hey, baby, when we finna fuck or whatever. And first of all, I don't even speak that way. So when, you know, that came to me, I'm like, no, I think you got the wrong person. I would have never said that. And first of all, your sister ugly as hell. So that's a no. Like, I love a beautiful black woman. I've only been attracted to black women my entire life, but your sister ain't the black woman. So I said no. I was just ignoring him like I was supposed to. My best friend and I walking in the hall, and because I wasn't responding he then starts to beat the crap out of me. And I stood there and I took it like a champ. And without even knowing what the true story was, all they did was come around the corner and see that I was involved in some kind of altercation. They didn't know what it was. They didn't know what had happened. But of course it felt weird because everyone thought that they knew what had happened. Mm-hmm. And so now I'm hearing, oh, you got an ass whooping, yada, yada, yada. And it wasn't that. You could clearly tell I was not fighting back. Like, it just wasn't.
Mm-hmm. And this was all due to
the school's abuse of power.
But this situation arose from he say, she say about you liking a sister, right?
Right. Make an issue where there was one. It wasn't one.
Now, I'm sure the viewers, just like myself, are all wondering, because they see you here applying makeup and wearing hair, they might be a little bit confused about the whole,
Well, I mean, if you're my loyal subscribers, I explain everything. So, I mean, they shouldn't be all that confused. But for the new people, let me go ahead and explain this to you guys.
All right.
I feel like oftentimes people don't really get it, and so, and I know that using this person as an example is probably even more controversial, but when Tyler Perry dresses up as Medea, it's a job. When I sit here and dress up as Christian Styles, it's a job, because I'm a licensed cosmetologist, I'm a licensed esthetician, and I'm a licensed barber. This is what I do for a living. This is my job. This is my livelihood. And because I don't have models that are out there repping my stuff, I have to be the biggest brand representation for me. How I make my coin and who I sleep with are two very different things. I feel like with situations that I go through, I never lose me. Underneath it, I'm still the same old Dennis Christian Gianti. Still the same old me. So, just...
Now, would Christian Dennis Gianti, would he be interested in men as well, or only interested in women?
I don't dabble. I never have, because I don't... It's a psychological thing. Like, you can't... Although I pull both. I don't feel the need to go the other way, because you can't, psychologically, I can't force myself to like it, if that makes sense.
So in conclusion, you are very much attracted to women. This is just how you choose to reveal yourself or carry yourself or conduct yourself business-wise, or just period, it's just a choice that you chose to make.
Definitely a choice. And I feel like a lot of people don't get that you can most certainly do whatever you feel like doing. It really is up to the other person whether or not they're going to be okay. Those women understand that just because things are assigned a gender, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's for that gender. Because when it's all being made in the factory, it's all being made together. There's no separation between the two. And the materials, polyester and cotton, no matter... It's not a black and white issue. There's definitely a gray area, and people just don't see that.
Do you feel like the gray area may be having something to do with your biological mother? Or not having your biological mother? Do you think it possibly could have been stemmed from there?
No. I actually know where it stems from. So,
that's cool.
For me, no doubt about it. I did wake up one day and said, I'm not smart enough to go to regular college. As wise as I am, I woke up and felt like I was never, ever, ever going to be smart enough to finish a regular college degree, and cosmetology school was the easiest way out. But for me, fashion doesn't have a limit. There's no line to it. So And let's be honest, the things that are made for women are a lot more interesting than what they make for
It
men.
not necessarily has to be a choice. You know, you may have been born with more estrogen than testosterone. You know, and some people are born with more estrogen. Males are born with more estrogen than testosterone.
And
vice versa. Some females are born with more testosterone than estrogen.
I was just getting ready to say that because I feel like, and I've done a lot of videos on my channel about this, the double standard. I feel like there's a huge double standard. You know, girls can walk into the guys' bathroom, but when it's the other way around, we're in there to rape one of them. So for me, I don't get it. Like,
now, I would like to ask you, is there anything that you would like to add to being adopted? Is there any advice that you would like to give an adopted young man or young woman to cope?
I would most certainly let them know that whatever it is that you're dealing with or whatever it is that you're battling, you know, feeling unwanted first and foremost, because that's the first feeling you feel is rejected. And I have come to learn that man's rejection is God's protection. So if you are feeling all of these different kinds of emotions and you feel like you weren't good enough for your parent, and even if you don't know the story, there's probably a good reason why you don't know the story and why you shouldn't want to. I feel like everybody's put in this situation for a reason. So regardless of whether or not you like your situation, I wouldn't question it, because I made that mistake. I questioned it. And I said, oh, well, I wish that I knew, you know, my family, and I wish that all these things were happening. And when I actually found out, you know, what I had been facing all this time was not at all correct, I felt like I made the wrong choice, and I felt very stupid. So don't question.
Why did you feel stupid?
Because I tried to challenge God. If He put me in this situation for a reason, it's for me to accept and not question.
Mm-hmm.
But because I had the nerve to say, I feel like I have, you know, a right to know, and I want to know those people. You know, you removed them for a reason, but I'm going to go find them. And I bet you things will turn out great, you know, and I felt as if I knew more than my maker. And when I realized that the grass ain't always greener on the other side, in fact, there was no grass at all.
It was not as pleasant as you had expected it to be, meeting your birth family.
And we all envision it to be a certain kind of way. And that's why I feel the need to say it the way I'm saying it. Because these young children that are, you know, adopted, and there's a part of them that doesn't want to leave this earth without knowing. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. You have every right to know. In my mind, you have every right to know what could have been. You know, when I first met her, first of all, it's like an unreal experience. They don't make carnival mirrors anymore, for those of you who are not familiar with what those were. But they were mirrors that when you stood in front of them, it was like a distorted image. And when I sat in front of my mother, it was like a distorted image. I knew it was her the minute she walked out the door. It was like,
and how old were you?
7. It was 2017, so I was 18 at the 17. I was 17, about to turn 18.
And you understood everything that was going on.
And yeah, I understood fully. You know, you going in there. They were getting strip searched. They have to get naked and then come into the room, put their clothes back on, then come into the room. And there was 6 women that walked in at the same time, and I could immediately point out which one was mine, because it was obvious. I'm like, she's the female version of me. Like, how I look right now is how my mom looks at 52 years of age.
And so that goes back to my point of making, do you think that your image has anything to do with your mother not being available to you? Maybe you bought her to you, maybe you're visualizing her subconsciously, maybe you're betraying her subconsciously, the lack of something that you had, maybe, possibly.
No, because I feel like the two don't correlate. Because if I wanted to, emulate her or be like her, I'd be locked up right with her. She robbed people at gunpoint. She did some terrible things back in the day. Like, I'd be right with her. Who I am today would not be the person. Like, I would not be this person today had I been raised by them and knowing them personally. I know that for a fact. But I feel like,
before we continue, can I just come over and give you a hug? Mine? I just want to. I just feel the urge.
people need to understand it really does come with the territory. Like, you cannot be in this business and not look right. Like, it comes with the territory. But at the same time, the ones that don't, I would be more inclined to say, no, you can't do my face, and no, you can't do my hair, because I don't see that you have any taste. I don't see that you have any style. Putting a message out there that anybody can, do what they want to do to their heart's content. We're not here to judge. We're not here to make fun. People are who they are. Our genetic makeup, we are who we are. And if anybody has a problem with that, well, you know what I mean.
Thank you very much for this interview and for your time and for your transparency. And I feel like you're going to be a very successful person in life. Again, I just want to thank you for having me here today. But for now, our time has ran out. And that is all.
All right, guys. So, like I always say, stay perfectly imperfect, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.